Hello everyone, and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Today, thanks to the team at Alfa Romeo Slough, I'm bringing you an in-depth exterior and interior tour of a 2018 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. This latest performance offering from Alfa Romeo is named after the legendary Italian mountain pass that is composed of 48 hairpins, a clear indicator of what Alfa Romeo's latest Quadrifoglio is meant for. Moreover, many components are made from lightweight aluminium, and the drive shaft itself is constructed from carbon fibre to keep weight down as much as possible. And thanks to careful design, the car has a 50-50 weight distribution. The new Stelvio SUV comes in 5 variants: Super, Nero, Speciale and Milano, with the Quadrifoglio, which stands for 4-leaf clover, with the floral icon itself being a sign of luck for Alfa Romeo since 1923, sitting at the top. The lower models are powered by 2.2-litre turbo diesel engines, producing 190 and 210 brake horsepower, and 2-litre turbo petrol engines, producing 200 and 280 brake horsepower. The specific car is presented in Tricoat Competizione Red, one of 8 colours available, and comes in at 4,702mm long, 1,681mm high, 1,955mm wide, and has a curb weight of 1,830kg. Despite not being a lightweight, it still managed a very impressive top 100 Nürburgring time of 7 minutes 51.7 seconds. To put that into perspective, it lapped faster than a Lamborghini Gallardo LP560-4. Before we can take a look at the engine, we first need to unlatch the bonnet by pulling the latch to the right of the driver's footwell. A small yellow catch can then be pushed to the left, and the aluminium bonnet can be lifted up, the underside of the vents, and 2 struts it's self-supported on. The Stelvio Quadrifoglio is powered by the same powertrain as the impressive Giulia Quadrifoglio, a front-mounted, lightweight, all-aluminium 2.9-litre biturbo V6 that produces 505 brake horsepower and 600 Nm of torque. This produces a 0 to 62 mph or 100 km/h time of 3.8 seconds and a top speed of 176 mph. This car is sitting on the optional 20-inch dark 5-hole alloy wheels, front and rear, one of 2 available finishes. Braking is provided here by the standard drilled and ventilated discs at each corner, although a full carbon ceramic disc pack is available. Stability is provided by adaptive damping, which is also known as SDC, or Synaptic Dynamic Control. This system can be configured using the car's different drive modes. We can also find double wishbones at the front and multi-link suspension at the rear. This being an SUV, a 4-wheel drive system is used, called Q4, but here it typically sends 100% to the rear wheels, and then up to 50% to the front when traction is tested. It also comes with a rear torque vectoring system found in the rear differential that enables the rear wheels to react independently, enabling sharper cornering and handling in general. Now we've finished the model overview, we can start the exterior in-depth tour from front to back. At the very front we find Alfa's distinctive tri-lobe grille. This is broken down at the sides into air takes for the engine and additional vents further out for the radiators. Parking sensors can be seen here for the front park assist system. The central V-shaped Scudetto grille can be found on all Stelvio models, but here adds to the car's aggressive stance with its aluminium V. The lights above are composed of a central bi-xenon beam with a halo and LED tick daytime running lights above. The main beams come with active lighting technology that allows them to turn in the direction of the car for better illumination. We can also find Alfa Romeo inscribed on the lateral edge. Moving back, vents have been added to the bonnet for weight saving, cooling, and to create a more dynamic aesthetic. There are also 3 dynamic lines, one centrally and one on either side. The dual windscreen wipers behind also come with Alfa Romeo inscribed onto them. We can now move to the lateral aspect of the Stelvio. We first find the Quadrifoglio or 4-leaf clover shields on either side. Moving back are the electrically adjustable, auto-dimming wing mirrors with integrated indicators. The white triangles on the outer edge of the glass are indicative of the blind spot assist package. Moving down, we find extended side skirts and above, the smooth door handles thanks to the keyless entry system. Moving up, we find the optional dimmed, electrically adjustable sunroof, and further back, the gloss black shark's fin antenna for the radio and communication system. Moving back down, we find the fuel tank flap to the left here. It can be released using a light depress thanks to its spring action. The Quadrifoglio has a 64-litre petrol fuel tank, with the car returning a combined MPG of 28.8. Moving down, we can see the more aggressive extended wheel arches found on this version of the Stelvio. Moving up, there's a subtle boot lid spoiler with an integrated LED brake light strip, and below this, the curved and dimmed rear window with its single wiper. Now at the rear, we can note the different insignia on either side. Q4 on the left stands for the car's four-wheel drive system. The lights above wrap around for increased exposure and come with an LED brake light surround. Moving down, this bottom section is significantly more aggressive here than in the standard models, featuring a 4-fin central diffuser and quad pipes. Let's hear how the valve-controlled sports exhaust system sounds, first in normal and then in race. Now we've finished the exterior tour, we can move inside. The Quadrifoglio comes with a standard Alfa Romeo key, with buttons to lock, unlock, and operate the power boot. The door handle opens easily in the typical outward motion, as does the door. The interior of this Stelvio is finished in black leather and black Alcantara, and optional red contrast stitching, with real gloss carbon fibre inserts. The interior, both front and rear, comes with ambient lighting as standard. Let's now start the interior in-depth tour with the doors. The top panel is finished in smooth black leather, with red contrast dual stitching that runs all the way down. Below this, we find a long gloss carbon inlay with the aluminium door release and lock controls. This is integrated into the black leather section below, where the seat memory controls and first speaker of the optional 14-speaker Harman Kardon sound theatre system can be found. Moving down, the central panel is upholstered in red leather that also flows onto the armrest, where the electric window and mirror controls can be found, in addition to the boot lid opener. Finally, the door storage area and second speaker are below. Moving left, ingress and egress doesn't seem to have been impacted on by the extended side skirts, as it was easy to get in and out. Now moving inside, we can sweep along the Quadrifoglio emblazoned brush kickplate. Moving up, we find a small hatch for a coin storage or access area, then buttons for the parking sensors, start-stop, the adaptive lighting system, and adaptive cruise control, and finally the first manually adjustable air vent. The optional sports steering wheel is to the left. It is upholstered in Alcantara at the top, that gradually reduces due to the leather sections around the 9 and 3 positions. The controls to the left are for the cruise control system, with the red engine start-stop button below. Carbon runs around the bottom of the wheel with the horn centrally and controls for telephony, volume and skip track to the right. To either side of the wheel, we find the long aluminium gear selectors for the 8-speed ZF gearbox that can be used in manual or full auto modes. Looking ahead, we can turn on the ignition and screens by depressing the red start-stop button. The instrument cluster ahead is broken into 3 areas, from left to right. Engine temperature and rev gauge, with central 7-inch TFT screen to its right. And finally the speedo with fuel level last. The dash ahead is finished in extended leather and contrast stitching, and starts with gaping vents for the side windows. There are further speakers in each corner and centrally, and the final air vent to the left. Below this we find the 8.8-inch HD non-touchscreen display, where we find the same infotainment system as that found in the Giulia. This system is controlled using the central scroll wheel. It starts with the full AM, FM and DAB digital radio. Media is next, where devices can be connected via USB, aux or Bluetooth. Phone connectivity options are next for calls and messages, where your device can be connected in the same ways as in media. Navigation comes after, where the user can input a new destination, select from those previously used, and navigate to local points of interest on the map. The user can also manually navigate around the map, including zooming in and out. Car comes next. In this menu screen, we can first view, from right to left, the compass, with coordinates and altitude, a digital copy of the owner's handbook, efficient drive, which is broken down into 4 graphs: gear, deceleration, acceleration and eco. These can be used to help the user drive more efficiently. In car, we can find the car's oil level, maintenance information such as next service date, and the tyre pressure monitor. Finally, we come to the general settings screen. Here, light settings can be adjusted, in addition to unit, language, clock and date, driver assistance packs, and the infotainment system. The Quadrifoglio comes with Alfa Romeo's DNA drive selector system that comes with 4 modes: dynamic, which is comparable to sport, natural, which is comparable to comfort mode, and all weather, and in this model, race, which opens the exhaust valves. In dynamic and race, the car's dampers firm up, engine rev idle is increased, and the traction and stability controls are reduced. Below the screen, we find another long gloss carbon fibre and aluminium piece that runs along to the passenger side. There are 2 manually adjustable air vents below this. There's another area upholstered in red leather below, with the dual zone climate and ventilation controls under that. From right to left, the driver's zone control. Air towards seats, rear window demist, fan speed scroll wheel, front demist, passenger zone control, passenger heated seat, heated steering wheel, and finally driver heated seat. Below this, we find a 12-volt and USB socket. Now moving on to the central column, the first thing we find is this gloss carbon top lid. By pushing on the small aluminium piece at the front, we gain access to 2 cup holders underneath. Once finished with, it can be depressed to self-close. Moving back, we find the gear selector with park mode set on top. It can be placed in reverse, neutral and drive, with a sequential shifting option possible here by pressing it left. Behind this is the main physical control array, from left to right, the on-off control with skip track and volume controls, the touch-sensitive infotainment scroller that can be depressed and tilted 360 degrees, and finally the DNA drive mode selector. Behind this and to the right is the parking brake. Between the seats, we find this leather upholstered dual armrest. It is fastened without a clip or latch, so it can be pulled up with a little bit of force. Inside, we find 2 USB and 1 aux inputs, with 2 compartments and another 12-volt socket further forward. The seats on either side are the standard black leather and Alcantara, electrically adjustable and heated sports seats with optional red stitching. Sparco carbon shell buckets are also available. The controls for these seats are found to the side, for forward and back, and tilt. Now we've finished in the front, we can move to the rear. The handle and door pull out in the same way as those at the front, and the interior space follows the black leather and Alcantara, an optional red contrast stitching theme, as that found in the front. Unlike the front, the windows here feature a heavily tinted quarter section to their rear, while the upholstery and panelling below is very similar. With leather, then carbon with a speaker, child lock and door release. contrast red leather armrest with the electric window controls, lower speaker and storage area. On the sill below, there's a small brushed kickplate with the Quadrifoglio centrally. Now sitting inside, we can take a look down to gauge the amount of room available, and the storage netting found to the rear of the front seats. Looking around, I feel the addition of the sunroof makes the interior space a lot more light and airy. Moving left, we find the dual manually adjustable air vents, and 2 USB inputs below these. The rear bench behind this is upholstered in black leather with Alcantara centrally. There are 3 seats in total, but only 2 main seats that could be found on either side, as the rear of the centre seat can be pulled out and be used as a dual armrest with 2 cup holders. Now moving back outside briefly, we can use the button on the key to open the boot lid. The boot itself has a total capacity of 525 litres. Looking inside, we can see the subwoofer to the left. Seat release latch, coat hanger, lighting, ventilation, deployable cover. On the right, we find a mirror image of the controls found to the left, with a small access point and indented area below. The boot floor can be lifted up to reveal the towing eye, jack, tyre repair equipment and the charger. We can then use the button on the underside of the boot lid to initiate its self-close function. Now moving back inside the car, we can view its final few features. There is a sizable glove compartment on the passenger side. Looking up, we find large leather upholstered sun visors with illuminated vanity mirrors. Looking back, we can see the large sunroof. Ahead of this is the controls array for the sunshade and sunroof, and interior lighting controls. Below this is an auto-dimming rear view mirror. So that concludes my in-depth exterior and interior tour of this 2018 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. Thanks again to Alfa Romeo Slough. All their contact details are in the description of the video. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, thanks for watching.